everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Jessimae. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for learning, for loving, for being here. There is a beam of light on my chest. My cleavage is being sun-kissed as the sun goes down and I have the window open in my studio. There's so much I want to talk about. I just got back to LA from my shows in Syracuse. And, you know, there is a grief episode I want to do, not today, where I talk about my mom and grief during the holidays as well. But since Dying Laughing with Jessimae is coming up, that'll probably be the last grief survival guide of this year, because I think that Dying Laughing with Jessimae will emerge itself the beginning of the new year. So we still have a couple of weeks left with Sharp Tongue Podcast. And like I said, listening to this will feel like Sharp Tongue Podcast, and it'll be a little better in the sense that we'll be having conversations with friends of mine who have gone through a lot of loss and have found brightness through that darkness. So it's not going to be such a heavy conversation. It will be some heavy topics, but all of us will be able to relate to it. And it's not just dealing with loss of a loved one. It's also you lose your job, or you lose your relationship, or a pet dies, or a part of you dies. And I think every one of those things deserves a proper burial. So that will be the goal of Dying Laughing with Jessimae. I kind of want to put another light on because the sun is setting and I don't like what it's doing. Hold on, everybody. There we go. There she goes. I'm running the studio on my own here. Check 1, check 2. There we go. He popped in a new light. So Dying Laughing with Jessimae will be the first of the year, but we're here now. So thank you for being on my page. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That helps me get more views. More views helps me get more amazing guests and better content, better videos for you. So helping me helps you, helps me, helps you. And don't forget to rate the pod if you're listening. You know I want 5 stars. Come on now. It takes you 2 seconds. Leave me a little review because I love to read the reviews. So read the bottom. If you scroll through on Apple, I think it's the Apple app, on the podcast part, just scroll down. You can see where you leave the reviews and you can read some. People are really loving it. People are loving the podcast, and I appreciate that. I can't do it without you, and I do it for you, so I hope you appreciate it. And if you want to be a part of the podcast, you can call us, 513-916-0930, to be a part of the podcast. The sun is setting on my face right now. I look like I'm being reborn on this podcast. I added a light. I realized I didn't need to add a light because the sun is shining. I knew I was going to be blinded. So don't forget to give the podcast a call. Subscribe to the Patreon page. That will be where Sharp Tongue lives forever. Patreon.com/Jessimae Peluso. And as always, a portion of what I do, merch-wise or ticket sale-wise, goes towards the Alzheimer's Association of California and Hilarity for Charity. Both of those foundations are near and dear to my heart. My father passed away from vascular dementia, which is a form of dementia, kind of like Alzheimer's. And he passed away in 2018. And so I thought, well, what a way to keep his legacy alive by raising some awareness and aligning myself with a couple foundations that I find are doing really good work. And so I'm happy to be doing that as an advocate. And so thank you guys so much. We're here on the pod. We're here. I'm in the studio. Next week, I am going to be talking to you about my mom's death day. I was just home for Thanksgiving and sort of the emotions that brings up, and also how to deal with loss around the holidays, grief, all sorts of grief, because the holidays are interesting. It's an interesting time. Usually you have to be around family. Have to. Well, you're going to be around family, parties, friends. And that can provide a challenge because you're going to be out and have to sort of have a face about you. You have to be public and be able to be out in the public. And if you're going through loss or grief, it can be difficult to do that. So I'm going to talk about that probably on next week's episode, how to navigate the holidays while you're experiencing pain and anguish and ways you can eliminate those emotions associated with that. So that'll be next week. And this week, I will talk a little bit about traveling and everything. I was in Syracuse. I had so much fun visiting my family. I was in Omaha. I did the Funny Bone there a couple nights in Omaha, Nebraska. And I am so bright right now. What if I just take that one picture frame down? What would it be that big of a deal? We're going to keep it. It's hilarious. I said, I'm going to sit down and it's a good thing I'm not a vampire because I'll just be burning to death right now. It is kind of bright though. It's bright in my eyes. I was in Omaha. It was a lot of fun. Being on the road can be challenging. It can be hard to be on the road and as a chick, finding comfort and feeling safe and all of that. But also, I'm 42 years old and I like to spend time with my loved ones. I do value my freedom. My sister said that, every time I complain to her about being alone on the road, she goes, I have 2 children and a husband. I would give anything to be alone with you right now. And she said that to me because when I left Omaha, I was all excited because I got a great flight out on Sunday so I could make it to my sister's house in time to see my aunt and uncle and have dinner with them before I burst in flames on this podcast as a vampire. And the night before, I double-checked with my driver. I says, James, because the club sometimes will hook you up with a driver to get to and fro, to your airport, to your flight. I said, James, upon what time would be a good departure time from the hotel to reach the airport without missing my flight? James told me leaving my hotel approximately at 9 a.m. would make it so that I make my 10:45 a.m. flight just in enough time, with plenty of time. So I said, cool, so 9 a.m. it is. I get up probably about 7, do all my morning stuff. I wake up and do 20 minutes of meditation. I'm not bragging, just telling you what I do. Before I even get out of bed, before I look at my phone, I highly suggest it. The first thing a lot of us do is grab our phones. What are you going to see? What are you going to scroll and see another midget meeting the smallest girl meeting the tallest girl? Are you going to see another gay boy at a Texas? I don't even know what those dances are. Have you seen these gay guys in their half shirts with dollar bills stuck in their freaking Texas belts dancing around like cute little twinks? I don't even know what's happening there. Where in Texas is this happening? These are the videos we look at at 6 a.m. Is this what you need to see? So before I wake up, I do meditation and then I grab my phone. The calm before the storm. I got a little breakfast. Well, I had some stuff left over in the hotel. I had a smoothie that I got. It's a thing you got to plan ahead if you're traveling. Try and get a couple meals the night before to stick in your hotel so that when you are going on a flight or something the next day, you can shove that down your pie hole on the way to the airport. And that's what I did. So I go down to the lobby and it's 10 before 9, 8:50 a.m. And I thought, I'm going to text him. And then I thought, no, he'll be on time. And then I had this other thought, which I call my intuition, which we've learned is always right. Not just my intuition, but your intuition for the most part, especially if you're a woman. Our intuition comes straight from the source. I always say it comes from the source through our crown chakra, out our root chakra, and back into the ground. Women are highly connected to intuition, and our intuition is very, very strong. The force is strong with this one, intuition. So I had this intuitive thought that he's not going to make it in time and I should call an Uber. And I felt that thought a few times and I didn't listen to that thought. I felt it. I didn't listen to it. It's a difference. Your intuition, you can feel it. You can feel that that's what you should do. But your mind talks you out of these things sometimes. I texted James at 9:05 because I thought, as a driver, you should be there early. And if you're 10 minutes early, you're still kind of late. You have to anticipate your client's travel day, that there might be some delay. And so being early is making them on time. 9:05, James says, just woke up. I'll be there in 10 minutes. That's what James said. He said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And I says, I don't know, James. 10 minutes seems still kind of late. It still was a little late. And, I honestly just knew that I was going to be late, and I knew that I was going to miss my flight at this point. He said, I'll be there in a tan Cadillac Escalade. Oh, that was the first text, sorry. I said ready at 7:03 a.m. Well, that was 9:03 because my phone, the time has adjusted. Ready at 7:03 a.m. He said, yes, on my way. What he should have done at that moment is let me know that he was going to be massively late because I could have taken an Uber. And I said at 9:10, what's your ETA? He said 10 minutes. I said, oh, I thought we said 9. This adds a little travel stress for me. I'm learning to speak up and speak forward and be honest with people. I leaned in a little bit. Sorry, you guys don't get the boob shot you want, but stay tuned. When the sun goes down, you'll get more boob. I think it's good to be straightforward with people. People need to know that you've disappointed them. He said, you are correct. I set my alarm for 8:30 a.m. and it was on p.m. My fault, but I am 2 exits away from you. So this is already 15 minutes past the time he said 10 minutes. He gets there at 9:30. I said, I understand. It's just now we have to rush and my plane boards at 9:50. So he gets there at 9:30 and my plane boards at 9:50. Needless to say, I did not make that flight. And because I didn't make that flight, there wasn't any other flights. Of course there weren't any other flights. It's freaking Omaha, Nebraska, going to Syracuse, New York. How many people are making that damn travel? I got stuck in the airport. I was stuck in the airport for, 5 hours. But I started a book. I made the best of it. And that's when my sister said, I complained. Okay, I complained. I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't complain. It's inconvenient. I'm a human being. It's like, because I wanted to make it home to my aunt and uncle. And I didn't get to do that. And so I was bitching at Em. And she goes, honestly, as a mother of 2 toddlers or demon children, I would do anything to be in your place. For a layover, perspective is everything. I said, thank you. You're right. I'd rather be home getting fed. There's my perspective. I want to be fed and be eating with Aunt Janet and Uncle Rick. Didn't get to do it. It's okay. I did go home. I don't want to talk about it too much because so much of what I experienced when I was home has to do with the feelings of loss and grief. And it was really compounded for me. It was really beautiful, actually. I navigated it surprisingly well. Because there was a lot of compounding loss to juggle. The holidays always bring up stuff, and we sold our house. So, like I said, next week I'll go into that in more depth. So make sure you tune in if you're somebody who's dealt with loss and dealing with dead loved ones around this time and having to be around your family and wanting to know how to do that a little bit more easily. I did have so much fun with my sister. Her and I can look at each other and not say a word. And then do that laugh where no noise comes out for like 5 minutes and people just look at us. No one gets it. We don't need anyone to get it. We don't need you to get us. We're not here on earth for you to get us. We don't need you to understand us. We're good. We'll look at each other and lose it. Lose it. Milk is spit out of mouths. No one even took a sip of milk, but for some reason we lose our milk. And, my sister's perspective on my day of travel is what saved me, if I'm being completely honest. I felt really bummed that I couldn't get home to my aunt and uncle, and her perspective saved me. It saved me from sitting in that emotion. And she made it so I had to have a good day. I was like, damn it, this bitch. Now I have to have a good day. I have to have a good travel day. So my layover was in Chicago, and Chicago has, I think it was in Chicago. I believe it was, yes. Was it Chicago? Yeah, because they have a public restaurant there. I think it's called Publica. Something like that, Publica restaurant. And it's right by one of the gates, and it's a sit-down restaurant, and it's got delicious food. The food was so good one time I asked the chef for the recipe and went into the kitchen and printed out their dill salad dressing, which I still have somewhere printed out. So I was like, you know what? I can't have dinner with my family. I'm going to have dinner in the Chicago airport where my layover is 3 frickin' hours. I wined and dined myself, had a couple glasses of red my book, sat there, people watched. It got my foot rubbed. God, layovers are just what airlines have created to make you spend money. Normally in real life, when you're out getting dinner and a massage, it'll cost you, I don't know, $1.50. In the airport, I had to take out a loan. I had to call a loan shark to help me pay for my foot massage. I said, well, I also had dinner, so I'm going to need to borrow some money. That's why they have those money grams in airports. Everything's so damn expensive. You have to call your parents and be like, can you send me $100? What happened? Are you in jail? No, I got a pedicure in the airport. No, I got a bag of peanuts. I sat down. Well, I went into this, I think it was called the travel spa. I've done it a few times. When I had a layover in Amsterdam, I had to ask for a massage in English, and they were like, oh, do you want the massage? They all sounded like the chef, even though it's Sweden and this is Amsterdam, but still. So I've done it a few times where I go into the airport and I get a massage. Is it creepy? I don't know. I was trying to live a life of luxury. Well, my driver had ruined all of my plans. So I walk up, and this woman was not feeling it. You could tell because she was there with her coworker. She did not want to rub my feet. There was no part of her that wanted to rub my feet. But I let her know that I wasn't a threat. I let her know, hey, look, I'm stuck in the airport. I'm like Tom Hanks right now in the terminal. And I don't even think I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be like that guy who ended up living in the airport for like 15 years because of a visa issue. I think I'm stuck in the Chicago airport until the unforeseeable future. For the unforeseeable future. You know, I saw the future, and it's unforeseeable because I will never be out of this airport. So she came around, she softened, and she said, you know what? You don't have to wait. I'll take care of you now. I said, my girl. And I actually said to her, don't worry, my feet aren't scary. And she said, oh, don't you worry. I've seen the worst of them. And I go, no, but I'm letting you know my feet are not scary. Like if I were on OnlyFans, we probably could make some pretty money together. So then her and I set up my OnlyFans account. I'm kidding. Kidding. I sit down, and this girl was hysterical. Nikki was her name. And she was talking crap about her coworkers, which I love. She was like, this fool thinks that I don't do a good job. I do a good job. And she's just talking about the guy who was giving the older lady a back massage. It is kind of strange to like be running to your gate and then you peer in and you see a couple women getting their foot rubbed and a back rub in between gate B9 and B11. The airport is just a strange place. And so she's there talking crap. And she has these really big eyes. Type of eyes where you go, I think you might have a thyroid issue. But you don't want to say anything because who wants to hear medical advice from someone whose feet you're holding? You know? She's doing a service job. I'm not going to be like, hey, you might want to get your thyroid checked. But she had those like big bulgy eyes. But she was so cute. And she was talking about her ex, how annoying he was. But they were best friends. She's like, oh, he was my best friend. He was my best friend. But we got divorced. And I was like, oh, gosh. And she's telling me about, you know, he's the best dad. And, you know, he drove me nuts while we were together. But it was better when we got divorced. And I said, well, where is he now? And she goes, oh, he's gone. I was like, gone? Like, where? Like, dead? She's like, girl, he's dead. Dead. He's so dead. And I thought, oh, man, I need to talk about this. I need to talk all about this. Her whole perspective. She said, he's deader than dead. He's the most dead. She said it like 4 times. I was like, Nikki, I definitely want you to check your thyroid. I said that under my breath. I just said I loved her. I said, you're so funny. She's like, people said I should do stand-up. But I'm only funny here. I'm only funny at my job. She said, but my old client who used to do stand-up said I should do it. And I said, who was your old client? Because at this point, I told her I had done stand-up. After she said people told her, I said, oh, I do stand-up comedy. And she goes, oh, really? She's like, well, my old client used to tell me I should get up on stage. And I said, who was your old client? She said, Bernie Mac. And I thought, God, I wonder what Bernie Mac's feet looked like. I bet his feet were nice because he was always really well put together. I bet he always had a pedicure. Obviously, he went to Nikki in the airport, which makes sense. He probably was connecting through there a lot, traveling. So I thought it was so funny that here's this woman who held Bernie Mac, and now she's holding me. And in a way, does that make me a part of Bernie Mac's life and legacy? Probably not. Not at all. I just thought Nikki was so sweet, and the fact that she was Bernie Mac's personal pedicurist brought me joy. I thought, well, that's a tough job. Hopefully he didn't have corns and bad feet. Oof, I would quit. The first fugly foot I got, I would quit. I'd be like, you know what? This just isn't for me. It's not for me, and I'm going to have to, it's a hard pass. Guys, the sun went down. Oh, God bless us. The lighting is so much better. Before we get too deep, I don't have a cold yet, which is crazy. When I travel, normally I get all types of sniffles, 3 days of recovery after. Knock on wood, whatever I had in, when was that, July, when I was sick for a month, hopefully gave me enough immunity until the end of the year. Everyone was sick at home. My sister was sick. Elliot, Karina were sick. Steve wasn't. Somehow my brother-in-law never gets sick. He's the oldest one. Does the least amount of physical activity. That's not true. He's constantly moving and doing stuff around the house. He mows the entire lawn. They live on over an acre of land. He's constantly running back and forth. So his form of physical fitness comes in doing jobs around the house. And that's a real thing. My bra is popping back out again. Let me fix this. Come on. Mother did not raise me to be a hussy for free. So I didn't catch a cold. So I feel like I am ahead of the game. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm ahead of the game. I don't have a cold yet. It's that time of year. I shouldn't say it. If only there was some wood nearby to knock on. I don't think this desk is made of wood. I got it from Wayfair. I don't want to knock on it because I feel like if it's not wood, that means a cold will show up tomorrow. Speaking of cold, I was in Syracuse. It was not cold. Global warming is working out for some of us. And my sister came with me. We did Bridge Street, which is WSYR's local news station there. And we had so much fun. You know I had to stop by Columbus Bakery and get some Columbus Bakery bread. If you're ever in Syracuse, you got to get the bread. I don't eat bread. There's 2 ingredients in their bread. Get the merch. They've got adorable bags, hoodies. The best bread in the world. I look like a bread maker right now on my T-shirt. I brought everybody at the news station some freshly baked bread. Whew, there's nothing that smells better than freshly baked bread. Well, I don't eat carbs. Oh, you're so much better than us. These people who don't, my cousin Jimmy, I don't eat carbs. You're a better person. Okay? All my cousin Jimmy eats is sardines. That's it. He eats sardines and avocado. I'm like, do you want to join the Kardashians? Because you eat like them. He's very, very healthy. He's a man who does not want for much, and I admire it. But eat some carbs, Jimmy. You're a disgrace to Sicilians everywhere. If you're an Italian who's gluten-free, get the fuck out of here. Go home. If you're a gluten-free Guinea, we don't want you anymore. You're no longer allowed on the island. Guess what? You don't eat bread? Get the F out of here. Que cazzo fai, huh? No bread? Are you? That's in 3 of the 3 meals I eat every day. When people are like, oh, I can't eat the bread. I can't. Oh, give it to me. I ate so much bread as a kid. My dad used to tell me, slow down on the bread. You're going to ruin your meal. Guess what never got ruined? My meal. The bread went right in. I wasn't stopping. Gluten-free Italian. What? You're the worst Italian ever. You're not allowed here. We don't want you anymore. Our blood is filled with sauce and bread, and I can't stand when people say this, mozzarella. mozzarella. Hey, got any moots? No, we don't. Okay? We don't have any moots for you. So gluten-free Italians and Italians who say mozzarella can leave the island. We have no more space for you. But I was home, ate some Italian bread, shared the Italian bread, went on the Bridge Street with my sister. I'll talk more about that next week, but it was really fun to have her with me. And I did my shows at the Funny Bone. My shows are every year around the holiday season. Sometimes it's either before Thanksgiving, sometimes it's after. We've played with the dates a bunch, but I think next year we're going to do after Thanksgiving. Everything's changed. People do differently, celebrate holidays differently now, I think, than before COVID. Everything has sort of evolved. I think people are spending more time with their family. That, and I am maturing, and as you mature, people do different things. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I used to go out and party at the bars in downtown Syracuse, run into all of my old school teachers. Shout out to Mr. Coughlin. Used to hang out with my math teacher before Thanksgiving at the bars. Now I have no desire. I want to be in slippers watching murder documentaries with my dogs and my family. But I'm grateful for everybody who came out. I want to shout out to a couple of my fans in Omaha, Nebraska at the Funny Bone there made their own I Love My Hot Sister t-shirts. My old barmate Gina came out with all of her girlfriends on a party bus, and they were relatively behaved. We only had to yell at them a couple times, but thank you for showing up and supporting, Gina. We used to sling drinks at Puffy's Tavern, so I got that t-shirt in Omaha, Nebraska. And then one of my fans, Marie, in Syracuse, got me this shirt. And this was something I always tried to remember, this one thing I said. I think I said it on a Weeds Day live. I will be bringing my Instagram live segments back in 2025, by the way. This is something I said, maybe on the podcast, maybe on Weeds Day Live. Life's too short to be rude. Eat bad food, have an attitude, and sleep with an ugly dude. Live your truth, don't be an asshole. So she put that on a t-shirt for me, which is amazing. I always try to remember, what did I say? Life is too short to be rude, eat bad food, have an attitude, and sleep with an ugly dude. No truer words have ever been said before, from my lips to God's ears. And speaking of eating bad food, Thanksgiving came and went. When I was in my green room the night before Thanksgiving at the Funny Bone, I did ask them for a bottle of Claza Azul. Because why not? Sometimes you get gifts when you go to these shows, and I said, you know what, I really would love, and I don't ask for much. There are other comedians who ask for shoes for them and their posse that comes with them. I think D.L. Hughley used to do that. There was rumors that he would order Air Force Ones, not Air Force Ones, Air Force Nikes. The shoes, not the plane. Probably some comedians order the plane. He would order sneakers, so I never really ordered much. I'm pretty low maintenance in that department, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to be home. My sister likes Claza Azul. I got a whole bottle of Claza Azul. Felt like a fancy girl. If you don't know Claza Azul, it's a fancy tequila. It tastes like the whiskey of tequila. You sip it. This is not something you're mixing drinks with, okay? Keep that trashy college palate to yourself when it comes to Claza Azul. Maybe a rock or two, maybe a squeeze of lime. Any more than that, you're just damaging the alcohol. I had a little sip. As we know, I'm not a big consumer, although I am sipping some red wine right now. But like we said, it is the day of the Lord. I felt really special that I got some Claza Azul, and I gave it to my sister, and I'll let you know if we break into that during the holidays. My sister and I sometimes get silly when we're home. Like I said, we do that quiet laugh. That laugh where no one understands what we're talking about. We don't even know what we're talking about. You sisters ever do that? You grab onto your sister and you're hitting her and no noise is coming out of you, yet both of you understand exactly what you're laughing at, yet neither of you have said any words. Nothing discernible has come out of either of your mouths, but both of you understand exactly what you're quiet laughing about. There's no other love on earth like that of a quiet laugh shared with a sister. And then punching them. I know it was a good day if I fall on the floor and don't make any noise and my sister pees her pants. Nothing fills my soul more. I miss her every day. I want that with everybody I know. Just hanging on to each other, sucking all the air out of the room in a good way. Elliot and Karina are like, what's Aunt Jess and Mom laughing at? And my brother-in-law is just rolling his eyes, checking his clock to see when my departure flight is. Guess what? Change of flight an extra day just so I could sit here and quiet laugh with Emily in the kitchen. It's the greatest. So we did that a lot. We had a lot of fun, a lot of quiet laughs. And I can't wait to talk more about my trip home next week when I get emotional. Well, not too deep, but you guys know when I break down what I'm going through and how I'm feeling about it. Well, something annoyed me, speaking about how I feel about things. There's a lot of supplements on the market. We can consider this an absolutely not. There's a lot of supplements on the market. And I read this article from the New York Times about the supplement industry and how none of it's really regulated and how different studies were done, Stanford, NIH articles, and New York Times article as well, basically saying that they do these studies and find that half of these products that are on the market right now don't even have the thing that they're saying that the product is. So if it's a vitamin C supplement, there won't even be any vitamin C in it. And so that sort of made me recalibrate the vitamins and supplements I take. And it also made me go into my cabinet and throw stuff away. Because you can actually take too much of things and it can cause horrible problems. So I have stopped getting my science from bad places and have started to really open up my eyes to what I'm putting into my body. That being said, I thought about getting an NAD supplement. I'm like, I'm going to stop taking supplements. Hey, I found a new supplement on the market. I've always thought about NAD. It's something that obviously a lot of people start saying. You live in Venice, and before you know it, you have 45 new supplements that you're taking daily. So NAD is a real thing. It stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which no one has ever said because I'm sure I said it wrong. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. I think I'm getting closer. So basically NAD is a hydrogen carrier for certain enzymes that are involved in many cellular processes, including energy metabolism and DNA repair, signing nDNAs, and gene expression. So our NAD levels decline as we get older. So basically NAD is kind of like a fountain of youth. That's what I understand it to be. So restoring your NAD levels are thought to help restore your mental focus, your mental acuity, cognitive function, your energy, and also on a cellular level, it's thought to increase your body's resilience to disease and also make your cells essentially youthful by repairing damaged DNA within the cells. What doesn't sound good? It's basically the fountain of youth. I'm buying every single NAD product I can find. So I went on this website. I won't say what it is, but I did a little bit of research, and I actually read through some things and chose this one product, and I was reading the website. We're going to consider this an absolutely not and a scam. And so I thought I'm going to do something I never had done before, but I thought about this because I think I saw them do it on Catfish. So I went down to the customer reviews, and I'm going to tell all of you to do this as well. Anytime you buy something that you're going to put into your body, I want you to research it first. I don't want you to get your information from your friends. I don't want you to listen to your doctor. I want you to do a little reconnaissance, if you will, for yourself. And tune into your body. Listen to what your body's saying. Don't listen to what everybody's saying. Listen to what your body is saying. I think when you start to listen to what everybody is saying, then what your body is saying is harder to hear. So that's what I've been doing. That's a process that I have been involved with for myself, to listen to my body. And I've started taking things away, and I've started to feel better. My energy levels have been up. Like I said, I haven't had coffee in 2 months. I had a cup of coffee a week ago after not having it for 2.5 months. And I'm not saying coffee is bad. I'm not saying coffee is good. I'm only saying I stopped drinking it after I had whatever illness I had, because I couldn't drink because it made me feel sick. I had 1 cup last week. I was up until 3 a.m. I tested it out when I went home to my sister's house, because now I've only been drinking matcha, which is very Venice, I realize. Ceremonial grade matcha. I want to punch myself in the face as well when I say words like that. But I've been drinking ceremonial grade matcha, and I haven't had any problems sleeping. I never had problems sleeping before. And so I take a sip of coffee. I'm up till 3 a.m. Then I go to my sister's house. They have an espresso machine. What am I going to do? You know, I love George Clooney. I love Danny DeVito. I think they both said an espresso was good. So if everybody says an espresso is good, I'm going to have a cup of Nespresso. I had an espresso 2 days in a row. Both of those days, I did not sleep at night. So coffee's out. Unless I need to pull an all-nighter, coffee's out. I'm going to be crisscross. I'm going to have the beard like Pai Mei from freaking Kill Bill. I might even have like a little samurai bun, and I'm going to sit crisscross applesauce drinking my ceremonial grade matcha all day. Because one thing you're not going to do is mess up my sleep. Okay? So I've been eliminating things from my life, but I got stuck on the NAD train. I think it was because I was talking to my brother-in-law's daughter who takes NAD supplements. And I was like, dang, maybe I need some NAD. You know, I did an NAD drip before, and that's also a very Venice sentence to say. If you guys don't know what a drip is, that's when they basically put an IV in your arm. Just someone who says they're a registered nurse. Are they a registered nurse? We don't know. We hope they are. Did I ever check anyone's credentials? No. Which brings me to my NAD scam heard around the world from a website that will stay unnamed. So I did this, and I encourage everyone to do this. If they're going to put a product in your body, if you're going to put a product in your body, if you're going to ingest something, you have to do some research. Even if your doctor tells you to take it, even if your friend says they take it and they feel great, you got to do your own research. So this is what I did. I went down to the customer reviews. You know, when they have the little photo of the customer and the name and the city, the review they gave and the stars. Here's one from Chad. At first, I only noticed a subtle change, but looking back, it has made a huge difference in my life. I'm grateful to the blank team and hopeful that more people will benefit from their company in the future. Chad, 52, Texas. Really? Chad wants everyone to be young. Survival of the fittest tells me that you don't, because if everyone were young, then it would be more competitive out there for you. You want to take this so you look young and keep all of your friends looking fugly and wrinkly so that you can stand out. So I call a scam. So what I did was I took a picture of Chad's photo and I put it on a Google image search. And what I found was that was not a man named Chad at all. That was, in fact, an author named Brandon Cook, who has written a couple books and has books on Amazon. Brandon Cook is a seasoned pool maintenance expert with over a decade of experience in the industry. He's written Pool Maintenance for Beginners, No Fuss Pool Care for the Busy Person. This was not Chad from Texas. This was Brad, an author. And I thought, well, that's a little strange. I smell a scam. Then I Googled the other two pictures of their customer reviews. One was, it doesn't matter. 2 basic looking women, pretty sure. I put each of their photos in the Google search, couldn't find anything. You know how rare it is for you to not have one iota of a digital footprint in today's land? Even if you didn't exist, there's a digital footprint for you. Even if you existed prior to the advent of social media, prior to the advent of the internet, prior to the advent of freaking technology, you have a digital footprint. George Washington's all over the internet. He didn't have a computer. These women don't exist anywhere. So that leads me to believe that they're either stock photos or a scam or both. It's not that I couldn't believe it. It really opened my eyes to the dangers of putting certain things in our body. And how at the end of the day, what are we even hoping to delay? What? We're just delaying the inevitable. It's not worth the risk. Okay? But if anybody has a really good NAD product they know, send me the link. I feel like I should put this website up because I don't want people to buy from it. I'm going to put the website in the description because it's just not right. It's rude if you ask me. You're just going to have this all out there willy-nilly. People don't care about you. You have to care about you. Your doctor doesn't care about you. No one's going to care about you the way you care about you. That's why you have to do extra work to take care of yourself. And speaking of that, I was strolling around my neighborhood this morning. Well, actually, I was looking at a condo because I'm kind of thinking about buying a place. And, it's a new venture for me. I'm excited to maybe put my own roots someplace. I thought about leaving California because so much of my family is back east. But then I thought, maybe I just want to lay down. Maybe I need to double down in Cali for a little bit. So I'm testing the market. I was off the market as a girlfriend. Now I'm back on the market as a single woman. And I thought, I'm going to get out into the real estate market and commit to myself. And I will be talking about going through the wildest week of my life as well for next week, because I think it sort of falls into the grief survival guide episode that we're going to do. Basically, the past week and a half, I have gone through a breakup, my mom's death day. I got sideswiped by a day drinking landscaper. I was in a parked spot. I met John Stamos, missed a flight, celebrated with my family. So there's a lot of highs and lows to unpack, and I will be talking about that next week, just to give you a little bit of perspective of where I've been. And so the thought of sort of committing to myself and finding a place for myself is exciting. My first place? Woo! I'm going to decorate. But what I did, I was like, if I'm going to buy a place, I have to like the street. I'll be walking the street a lot with my dogs, with all my elderly dogs, as Carlin stretches out right now. I need to like the street. So I took a little walk around the neighborhood, looking around to see if any cats had gone missing. Because it's a pretty solid sign that your neighbor's a complete asshole if there's a missing cat sign on a post. If you see a missing cat sign on a street post, it's a good sign your neighbor's an asshole. Even the cat didn't want to stay. I always say cats don't go missing, they leave. So if you see missing cat photos, don't move into that neighborhood. That means someone there does not take care of animals. Meanwhile, I don't know if they found Stanley. Stanley's been missing forever in my neighborhood. But I walked and I saw a missing cat and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can live here. Whose cat left? Let me see the conditions of your place. Did you not feed him? Did you give him cheap food? Cats are hard to tame. I walked around. I found a local coffee shop. Did not get coffee. I walked in. I got ceremonial grade matcha. And I felt kind of cheesy. I walked in. I said, how long you guys been open? Are you local? I asked the girl if she was local, the girl who ran the coffee shop. Yeah, actually, we are. They'd only been there a year. I was like, well, are you local? You only been here a year? I'm confused. She meant the shop had only opened a year, but she had lived there for a while. And I could tell that these questions were not questions she wanted to answer. So I got my matcha and I went and I sat down. A few minutes later, this older woman, these types of women who have all different types of fabric on, you get to a certain age, you just want to put a little bit of everything on, I think. And I respect that. She had like purple hair, 3 different types of fabric. You know, one of these women who has like an NPR like tote bag, but also a plastic bag from Ralph's. And those are her purses. She's in there. She smelled a little bit like mothballs and Lipton tea. And she walks in, she walks up to the register and she goes, "Oh, how long have you guys been open? Are you local?" And I thought, no, am I there? Am I that lady? There's no way. I became that lady like overnight. Think about it. I do crosswords. I love tea. I drink tea twice a day. I have elderly dogs. Am I that woman? I love going to the grocery store. It's one of my favorite places to go. Yes, I clip coupons. Yes, I clip coupons. It was like seeing my future self, but as myself now, my future self in like 5 minutes. I thought, man, I got to get out of here. I can't move into this neighborhood. There's just no way. There's no way I can move into this neighborhood. Especially because this neighborhood also had a missing bird. A bird isn't missing. It flew away. Once the cat left, the bird's like, I'm out of here. The cat didn't even want to stay. Missing bird. My name is Bobo. Boo-boo. Please help. If you see him, thank you. So they left a couple numbers to call Bobo. Boo-boo. Boo-boo's gone. Maybe the cat ate Boo-boo and then the cat left to avoid accountability. The cat's a narcissist, like most of the men in Los Angeles. Boo-boo is gone. Boo-boo flew the coop. The bird is not lost. It left. Your cat's not missing. He left. They're living a better life. That, or it has to do with the newly comfortable coyotes in the neighborhood. That's right. I told you that last week. There's coyotes everywhere. They've posted these things on all the neighborhood posts around where I am because all these coyotes are starting to show up in our local neighborhoods. So this thing says Coyote Hazing Technique Q&As from the Wildlife Watch, which is probably the old lady who came in with the Ralph's bag. Who's on the Wildlife Watch team? You know, it's a couple of old school Venice people that have lived here for 20 years. First, it says, what is hazing? Hazing is a process designed to scare wild animals away and instill in them a fear of humans. This is done for both public safety and the well-being of the animal. Wild animals that get too comfortable around humans can become dangerous and must be killed. I feel the same way about humans. Some humans get too comfortable around humans and they become dangerous and must be killed. Killed like not physically, but, you know, killed as far as maybe being removed from being free in society. What should I do if I encounter a coyote? I like to call them coyotes. First, immediately pick up children and pets. Well, pick up your pets. Then implement the hazing strategies introduced below. Once you start hazing, do not stop until the coyote has left the area. Never turn your back or run from a coyote. I wish this was done in like a town meeting. Can you imagine the people that would read this out loud? A guy would show up with like a rabbit's tail keychain and a raccoon hat, and his name is Chit Littlefeather, the coyote tamer. He comes in out of like a plume of sage, just smoked sage. He comes through a cloud of smoked sage, and somewhere there's a Native American flute playing in the distance. You're like, what? Does this guy have walk-on music? And he lets you know about how to haze a coyote. When should I haze a coyote? Anytime you're confronted by one. Consistency is important. It's the same thing for relationships. Everyone in the community must work together to make coyotes feel unwelcome in urban settings. I wish we got together and did this for homeless people. I realize a lot of them are veterans, gay youth, disenfranchised people, people who've been a victim of COVID, all of that, yes. But when you live in it in Los Angeles, come talk to me after. Because we need a task force like Chit Littlefeather's coyote hazing community. When should I not haze a coyote? Do not haze a coyote if it is cornered, injured, or has pups. In the event you will encounter a coyote under these circumstances, maintain eye contact with the coyote and slowly back away. I don't have enough couth for all of this. I'm scared of my own shadow when I'm walking at night. Now you want me to make eye contact with a pregnant coyote? Are you out of your mind? I got to stand here in the street and look at her. She's looking at me and we're like, what are we going to do? What are we doing here? Okay, let's look at the coyote. How do I haze a coyote? There are a variety of hazing strategies. Make yourself as large as possible. Stand up straight and wave your arms over your head. Okay, so hail a cab. I can do that. That sounds easy. But that also sounds like you're like, hey, that's how I wave to people when I get out of my, hey, Carlin. Hey, Moose. Is there a coyote? Don't. Lay down. Carlin got excited because our garage is open. Do not go out there. If I see a coyote and I'm like, this is how I wave down people when I'm excited to see them. This to me is like, hey, come over, let's talk. Sounds very confusing. If I was a coyote, I'd be like, I don't know you. Why are you waving at me? Another one says, make loud noises, scream, yell, or whistle. It's amazing that this works for coyotes, but not for actual injuries as a woman. You know how many women have tried to yell, scream, and whistle to get safety and to get help? To no avail. But I guess if it's a coyote, it'll work. Cool. Good to know. Maybe we should start dressing like coyotes, ladies. Be forceful and direct with your voice at the coyote. God, this bra keeps popping. Be forceful and direct your voice. How are you, coyote? It sounds like a Will Ferrell bit. Be animated. Well, I'm Sicilian and I'm a comedian. No problem there. What am I going to... When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Me doing Broadway, if that doesn't scare a coyote away, I don't know what will. When they say be animated, just pick your favorite Broadway play. Sing some, what was the most popular play? Hamilton at the freaking coyote. Throw rocks, sticks, anything you can pick up. That's the first thing I would do. I'm grabbing a rock. I'm grabbing a stick. I'm grabbing a traffic cone. I'm going to scream directly into the coyote's eye socket and throw the traffic cone at him. Take steps towards the coyote. Be aggressive. See, this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not getting up in the coyote's face. I'm not going to trying to get into his face and say things like I confidently know what I'm doing. This is over my pay grade. I need Chit Littlefeather to be with me when I'm doing this. Always look directly at the coyote. Never turn your back on it or run away. If that's important, that should be step number 1. If you're telling me not to run away, why is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 down the line? Most people aren't going to look past the first 2. Last one. When walking, carry an item like a stick, golf club, water gun, or air horn. A water gun? Are we going to an 8-year-old's birthday party? I will tell you, I do carry an air horn and a knife. Because we're in California, so I'm going to shank this fool. It's going to be like the 90s, the riots here in Los Angeles. If you're coming at me as a coyote, expect to get NWA treatment. I'm coming at you. This is now personal. And I will air horn the fuck out of you. People are like, oh, protect the coyotes. Are you out of your mind? Do I need to refer to the video of my friend again, Brittany Furlon, and her dog being almost yanked from the pool on a sunny day? And if she didn't react as quickly as she did in her robe and slippers, her dog would be gone. I'm coming at you. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to have an air horn. And I'm going to have a can of hairspray and a fire. I'm going to set you on fire. I'll feel bad, though. But if I have to save Chaplin, that's what I have to do. Bunny and Carlin, Carlin's not going to fight a coyote. He gets scared of his own farts. I love you guys so much. I do have an update before we go. I hope this was an entertaining episode for you. Certainly was for me. I missed you guys this week. There's an updated release date for my movie, FMK, Fuck, Marry, Kill, with Lucy Hale. It was supposed to come out this week, next Friday, but they have extended the release date until February 2025 because there seems to be some international interest. So that is pushing the release date a little bit, which is good. You guys can look for that in February. And don't forget that Dying Laughing with Jessimae will be coming up in January. I interviewed John Stamos. My dreams are coming true. And, I will say this before we get out of here. We're all going to be going through a lot of changes in our life. And changes are a really good time for you to take a little inventory for yourself and learn how to step out in the world a little differently next time. Not for the world, for you. I believe that this life is an opportunity to grow and to show up better for yourself. And the more you show up better for yourself, the better your relationships will be. And that starts with checking your supplements, making sure your vitamin C isn't trash. Okay, guys? If you're going to put it in your mouth, make sure it's quality. I don't care what it is. Hope you guys have a good week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting. See you later.